Hello again, I'm Debbie Lawrence from Newport Live, and this is a pre-Pilates, so a preparation for Pilates exercises. We're going to try and do this one standing, so the earlier one was seated. I have got the chair here, so if any time you wanted to go to the chair throughout, then you can, and I may show you a couple of the exercises again chair-based. If not, we try and stay standing. We might want that for a little bit of balance and support. Okay, are you ready? So let's start. Just take the feet, if you can, together. So both feet are together and they're facing forward. Now this isn't a stable position, because if I came to give you a little tap on the shoulders, you're more likely to kind of sway over. So if you can you turn your toes out slightly? So I'm doing this kind of position with my feet, not too wide, a little one. And then I'm going to turn the heels out too. So both my feet are parallel and they're facing forward. And all I want you to do initially is just to rock your weight forwards and backwards. Now that's going to challenge balance. I'll show you side on. So it's that little kind of rock forward and a little rock backwards. And that's where you may want to use the chair, just as a little bit of support there for you. Not pressing heavy, but you know, like if you feel kind of just a little wobbly on the legs, sometimes it's nice just to have that there. So it's just that little sway action. If you can do it without the chair, then that's cool too. I'm going to move the chair a little bit out of the way again. So keep doing that sway forward. And the idea here is feel your feet connecting to the floor. Connect to your breathing pattern. So notice where you breathe in from. Obviously breathe in through your nose and your mouth, but try and notice which part of the body the breath reaches down to. So is it more the chest, or can you feel it coming down into these ribs a little bit more? So we start to use a little bit more of the rib cage as we breathe. So just allowing everything just to slow down and just work with control. So we're finding that kind of forward range and then finding our back range, and then we settle. And as we settle the weight, we soften the knees and make sure the knees are not locking backwards. So just take the lock off them, and you should be able to lift your toes a little away from the floor. So just see, maybe do a little kind of wiggle of your toes. Can you do that? And then settle the toes down. And from here, so we settled, we found our body weight central placement between the feet, or through the feet. And here, you may want to put one hand each at the front and one hand at the back. And all we're going to do is just pull the tummy in so that you tuck your tailbone under. And then let the tailbone tip backwards. So you could imagine a whippet. So imagine the dog will whip it, its little tail's tucked under its legs. And then as it tilts back, you're a poodle. So poodle and whip it. And all we're doing is just tilting this pelvis. It's like a bucket. So we're flattening the lumbar spine as we tilt the pelvis backwards. And then as we tilt the pelvis forward, we're hollowing the spine. So you should be able to see that hopefully. And the idea is we don't want the spine to be in either of those extreme positions, but we want to feel the range of movement we have, and that's mobilising the spine. But the aim is, can we come somewhere between the two? So we're not flat, we're not hollow, somewhere between the two. And as a guide, if you place the heel of your hand on the pelvic bone here, and the fingertips towards your pubic bones, they should be level. So in a level plane here. So we're not tilting backwards, not tilting forwards, these should be level. And we stand upright. So that's our little pelvic action. We come onto the shoulders now. So hands are placed by the sides. And what we're going to do is just to lift the shoulders up to the ears and then slide them down. And again, connecting to your breath. So with control, lifting up to the ears for 2 counts roughly, and then slide down, down, down and down. So get that real lengthening on the way down. So it's lift the shoulders up, and then slow, 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 let the shoulders come down. And again, lifting up. And hopefully this is feeling okay for you. Remember, if you wanted to come seated, we can do as we did earlier. So you could do that if it's feeling too much at this point in time. If you can stay standing, that's also okay. I need another body, don't I, in that chair, so demonstrating the chair at the same time as I do this. Maybe you can imagine that, if you've got a good imagination. Okay, well, when you're ready, we're going to take the shoulders up and back, so we lift and we take them back and then down, and I'll show you that one side on. So this one is that lift and squeeze back. And again, it's perfectly slow and controlled. And again, connected to your breath. I will show you. So if you wanted to stay on the chair, you could do with this one. So it could be lifting up and just rolling down. I hope that's kind of given enough little options there. Just to kind of work with your own energy level, and that's important. Do 2 more of those for me. I'm going to lift out of the chair. So that's one extra. And then another one, and just lifting up and then sliding back. And then when you're ready, just letting the arms float up to shoulder height. So keeping the tummy pulled in tight. Keeping the weight spread equal through the feet, so the arms float up. Now on that earlier movement, we were working around the shoulder girdle, which is your collarbone, and the shoulder blades at the back. Here, we're focusing on the shoulder joint, so where this bone comes into the shoulder socket. And if this is available up to shoulder level, if it isn't, just go to a range that feels comfy for you. If it felt more comfortable, you could always do just one arm at a time. So again, work with what feels okay. You can always do an extra couple and then you can have a rest. So you don't have to continue moving if it doesn't feel comfy. What we are going to try and do is keep our tummies kind of just zipping in, not massively tight, but a little pulling of the tummy. I'm going to go for both arms together again. And then if you want to, and if it's available, could you lift the arms a little higher, up maybe just to above your head, but they stay so that you could look and see the hands, and then turn them round in a circle. So lifting the arms up, all the way up over the head, and then extending round. If that's not comfy, just stay with what we did earlier, that rolling of the shoulder. So remember there's different options. Or you could always do just a little roll here and that gentle roll back. And sensing into your shoulders, sensing how they feel as you move. So what we're doing is mobilising these joints. If it's available and if it feels comfy, and you could always just give a little push, a little dincy push. Just to reach those arms up, have that beautiful kind of reach over and then just extend out. But it's so slow, you keep the control. We're going to go for just one more, so floating arms and overhead and then reaching down to the side, and then we let the hands rest. And from here we're going to imagine that the chin is on a shelf, and I'll show you side on. So from here, imagine someone's going to put a custard pie into your face, so there, and you're just going to move away from that custard pie, and then let the head come forward. And just watch here, so keep a little engagement of these ribs. So it's taking the nose backwards, and then forwards. So nose back, and then forward. So what we're doing here is lining up the ears with the ears with the shoulders. I needed an anatomy lesson there. So those little chin slides, just mobilising through and around that cut. And then let the head rest so it's in a kind of comfortable position. We're going to come onto the spine. So initially, as we did in the chair earlier, just zipping the tummy and that little bend to the side. So that's the first option, that's your option one. and I'm standing and keeping the weight spread between both feet. Version 2 could be you lift the arm up, you just place one hand on the shoulder, keep the tummy zipped, and then you just take that little bend to the side. So that's version 2, and I do one of those each side. So this is real slow control. You lift up and then you bend. So it isn't as far as you can bend, it's just a tiny bend, just bringing that mobility into the spine. If it's available, and if you feel comfortable, can you take the arm up, keep a space between the shoulders and the ears, and again, just reach up and over. And again, connecting this to the breath. Okay, so there's 3 options. We've had the hand down, we've had the hand on the shoulder, and here the hand, this is the harder one, where we're lengthening the arm up. But so you've got the options to take either, and if you needed to return to do them as we did in the first routine, where you stay seated, that's perfectly fine. So always work to a level that feels comfortable for you. Now I will show you side on here, and I maybe should have just checked this earlier. We move directly to the side. So it's lifting up, there's no leaning forward, and not leaning forward here, no leaning backwards, it's sideways. So always that beautiful sideways action. Okay, rest from there. We're going to go for a twist. Now when you twist from a standing position, keep the feet facing forward and keep this part of the body, the lower part of the body, still. Okay? So version 1 is with the hands down by the side, draw the tummy in, and it's just a little twist round to one side. So I'm not going to let my knee or my hip twist. I just work from that middle centre of the spine, and then I come back to centre. And my hands are down. So that's version 1. It's just with the hands down by the side. If you want to go for version 2, and this is up to you, this is your choice, it's nice and slow. You just lift the hands up and maybe place them on the shoulders. The elbows could be higher, they can be lower. Everything's still the same with that lower body, but just that little twist round. And again, drawing the tummy in and keeping the chest open, and the head follows the rest of the spine. So breathing nice and controlled. It's almost like a little bit of a coat hanger shape here with the arms and the shoulders. Now it's a little bit harder and harder more on the shoulders, but could you take the arms out and just do that little rotation? And the thing to watch here is keep those hips forward and just rotate from the spine. And watch the arm, because sometimes the arms want to come across. We don't want that to happen. So this is the coat hanger. Kind of imagine the elbows soften, but keep that chest wide. So imagine you're holding a pole between both hands, or between your arms, so it's keeping those shoulders back. And then when you're ready, we just soften the arms down, and maybe give a little shake out here. Okay, we're going to come on to the ankles. I'm going to take the chair and bring that close to me again. And just there for a little bit of stability, if you want it. You might want to face this way for a little bit more, but not leaning all the body weight onto it. So that chair, or a strong, firm surface. It doesn't have to be a chair. It could be a table, it could be a wall. So what you're going to do is just draw the tummy in, and when you're ready, just lift one heel away from the floor, and then lower that heel down. With the breath, so breathing in, you shift your weight a little, pull the tummy in, and the other heel lifts away from the floor. Keep doing that. I'll show you side on. So from here, I zip my tummy, and all I'm doing, watch the lower, is just lifting my heel away from the floor, and then I lower down. I'm connecting to my breath, and I lift the other leg away. Now if you wanted to, just do another couple of those, so one more each side. Don't have to hold on, so you can just do this where there's that little shift of the weight and that gentle just lifting the heel away from the floor. You could add a little challenge if you want to, and I'll show you first. So it's one heel lift, and then you pull that tummy in, and then can you do a little lift up and a shift, so then the weight's onto the other leg. You see, so a little lift and a shift. I'll show you side on. So we start with one leg, a little lift. You come up onto both balls of the feet, and then that other heel goes down. And you can just, they don't have to press heavy on the chair, but it can just be there to support you if you need it. Go again, so just gently. And that will challenge balance a little bit. We don't want you wobbling too much. And the key is keep this little tummy zipped. One more of those each side. So just that little pedaling action through the feet. And then an invitation. Can you zip the tummy, and could you shift the weight and then come just to a knee lift? That's going to challenge a little bit more. So again, you might want that chair for support. Come down. Draw the tummy in. And again, this is just as a little prop, just in case you need it. Just zip in there. If you can do without the support, zip the tummy and just one knee lift. And then the other comes down, and then you zip the tummy, shift the weight, and then the other leg. Okay. And then bring the feet back down together. I'm going to move the chair out of the way for this one. If you remember in the first exercise, we had the little sit to stand exercise and lifting out the chair. So we're going to do this now as if we're sitting down in an imaginary chair. So we zip the tummy, shoulders are down, knees are unlocked, and you just hinge at the hips and then slide your hands down. Now, it doesn't have to be too far. You try and keep the chin tucking in. So watch no hooking the head forward. And you would go down just as low as you can, and then a strong push through the thighs. Keeping that control and connection with the breath. Zip, tummy, hinge at the hip, and then just slide down. So that whole spine is long. And so we're working through your thighs, we're working through the buttocks. Just do 2 more of those for me. So zipping. The whole spine in line. And if you can, just one more. We're nearly done. So just that little kind of squatting action, again, keeping the strength through the thighs. Now just to add something here, weight there, can you lift your arms up? Imagine you're taking a top hat off, and then look, press the arms away. How's that feeling? So check it. If it doesn't feel comfy, look, it can be a small hat, and we can just press it really low. So it doesn't have to be a big kind of top hat lifting. But if we can, the aim is to reach almost like we're trying to swim through the air. Now I'm going to add that to the hip hinge. So we hinge at the hips, we slide down, the chin stays in, and then as you come up, you come up to straight, and then you go for that little hat off and the sweep round. And last one, you could do 4 to 6 of these, but see how we feel. So you can always practice a few rounds to go through the section again if you wanted to. And it doesn't have to be immediately after, it could be a little bit later in the day. And there, just bring the hands down, lengthen everything, give everything a little shake out, and you finish the standing routine. So super well done to you.